These lands housed a great variety of life. The vegetation was abundant, and it is the circle with the most variety of animals, flora, and fauna known. Their lands were considered one of the most fertile, and it was the first dome where the Anunnaki were able to penetrate and colonize. The original beings of Mars at the time of the colliding with these beings resisted as they could, but it would have been lethal. They were very proud beings and great defenders of life and their lands. They all perished in battle. They went down like the Chickamauga. Hey, I'm back in that great book, man. Ahab to the bread, Dizzle, Fitty, Ahab to J Law, what it do? Hey, Shalom to the home team. This is that book written in Spanish. We got some last time. We're going to pick it up. I said we got a few more chapters to dig on. Dizzle Fitty over there serving me that work, man, these translations, man. So I want to make sure I get back, to where we were. I belly flopped into chapter 20. And the book again is called The Navigator Who Crossed Beyond the Ice Wall, man. And, there's a Spanish version of it you can get on Amazon. I'll show you the link in a minute. Let's just belly flop, man. We've been belly flopping, not in any particular order, man. Just really surfing the wave and really blown away by what we've uncovered. They talk about the 178 worlds that each got their own dome, their own firmament, but then they got the great firmament, the great dome that encloses all 178, situations. They call circles because from a bird's eye view, they would just be a bunch of circles or geothermic circles with their own suns and moons and different things. You just keep going straight to get to all these worlds, man, beyond the poles, man. Shout out to F. Amadeo Giannini. Might do an F. Amadeo Giannini Worlds Beyond the Pole for the dismount. But yeah, my naga, I mean, we're talking about Mars here, right? And we ain't talking about no ball. We ain't talking about no spinning ball Mars, my naga. We talking about the circle. So it's all about perspective. Now he said these lands housed a great variety of life. The vegetation was abundant, and it is the circle with the most variety of animals, flora, fauna known. Their lands were considered one of the most fertile. Talking Mars in there. It was considered one of the most fertile, and it was the, quote, first dome where the Anunnaki were able to penetrate and colonize. Now it says the OG Martians, right? The OG Martians at that time of colliding with these beings resisted as they could, but it would have been lethal. They were very proud beings and great defenders of life and their lands, and they all perished in battle. The last beings committed suicide when they saw that they were going to be part of a great colonizing race. So they just jumped off the boat. They said, man, nah, man. We ain't gonna be colonized. We ain't gonna be no slaves, man. It seems like everyone got their moment, where they say no more, man. Right now we going through ours, right? No more colonizing, man, right? We born free, right? Ain't we free, my nigga? Ain't we free like this beautiful fire right here, man? Shout out to the fire starters, man. All across the plain, all my Nagas popping off them fires on Nagaville. Hey, shout out to our op, Hezekiah, the fire starter, man. And the Aqua Charmaine, she a fire starter. Aqua Abiya's a fire starter. Let's go. But We got some fire starters, man. The cons are lit. Litty and Drop City, man. So let's read it from right here. So the Anunnaki penetrated this first dome that they, are referring to this Mars situation. The original beings of Mars at the time of colliding with these beings resisted. Now it said they all perished in battle. The last ones committed suicide when they saw they were going to be part of this colonizing race. When they know this sad story, they regret their loss, since the true and real Martians were beings who based their technology on purely spiritual growth. So these other Martians giving the real OGs a bad name, man. A bad rap, because the real ones was on that spirituality and they got colonized, you know what I'm saying? The Anunnaki began to inhabit these lands and use them as a second home due to their proximity to their own. Then over the years and the treaty with the custodians, they began to use this circle as an experiment, bringing together many races from different colonies, which still today we can find. The first humans sent there settled in Area, Aeria, an immense area provided with fertile land, but the conflict with other races that also lived there did not take long to arrive. While the custodians and Anunnaki enjoyed the show, scenes were carried out on Mars Dantescas, Dantescas, in war for territory as time passed. So scenes were carried out on Mars in wars for territory as time passed. The human colony settled on another island near the, quote, lands of Area due to the loss of territory. Of the last humanity, the first human to visit them was Richard Byrd on one of his expeditions crossing the South Pole. Whoa, so now they bringing in Richard E. Byrd, really known as the greatest explorer, really the last great explorer. Because after that, explorers are replaced with astronauts. And the same guys that were just finding more land are now supposed to be floating in outer space to find that new planet. But the planet is the plane, and the plane contains these circular, worlds beyond the pole, right? And we are one of them, and a very special one, if it's connecting to what they're, writing about in this, document here. That one of these worlds, they couldn't really penetrate, very easily. They had to, do other things to get in. They had to be invited in, you know what I'm saying? But they couldn't, it wasn't part of their internal or external system, you know what I mean? It was, like some of y'all said, more of a mother world, you know what I'm saying? More of the original that's on its own flow, on its own grid. They couldn't compute like that. But this became really their promised land. So, I love reading about this world beyond the pole. It really expands our mind bones, man. Flat Drop 101. And, it gives you a whole nother perspective of promised land. We read the story, we're thinking it's just some little piece of earth, of the earth we know, the Jerusalem's over there, the promised land's over here. Managa, all this is really the promised land for them. For them, this is the promised land. But they look at it as a whole entire situation. Atlantis and Lemuria and all the Mu, Kamari Condom, all the lands that are supposedly sunk. They take all that into account when they consider the promised land. We just think about where Jerusalem is, east or west, right? they look at all this like Jerusalem, you know what I'm saying? This is a very special vortex here. And this is what we are seeing today. It's all coming right to us. The whole show's happening right here, man. Everything's happening right here where you at right now, my nugget. Everyone's coming home. The big show's happening. Let's go. So they bring in Richard Byrd. Of the last humanity, the first human to visit them was Richard Byrd on one of his expeditions crossing the South Pole. Now, Richard Byrd said himself that there's another land the size of America past the solar or South Pole point that we know of. And he said it's about to be a fight, possibly to get the resources over there. And he said it live in full effect on the Longines chronoscope, man. I might have to get that snippet again. Because Richard's telling us, this Admiral Byrd is telling us that he has witnessed more land or another world beyond the pole, beyond the imaginary pole points. Because you're not on no ball. There ain't no northern extremity or southern extremity. You're not on a ball, man. You just go straight. You keep going. North, south, east, west. More worlds beyond the pole. Let's go. I mean, when you see yourself from a bird's eye view and you see the circle, the Antarctic circle, and again, research the Antarctic Treaty, because all the big wigs made a treaty in the 50s and said we're going to work together to defend this wall. Now, this wall surrounds us like a aurora borealis, however you say that. Someone left that comment, is Antarctica just a big dragon that just surrounds us, I mean, whoa, okay. Is it Sleeping Levi? Oh, okay. Now we got it popping off, man. Love the Dizzle Fitty. Let's go, man. So, yeah, man, Richard Byrd told us there's more land beyond the pole. So they're bringing him in, obviously commanded and aided by its custodial leader, Nimrod. So back it up. Of the last humanity, the first human to visit them was Richard Byrd. Now, they're saying Richard Byrd visited who? These lands of Area. Aeria. Back it up. Now it says the Anunnaki and the custodians enjoyed the show. All these races that they're dropping off over here, we're wondering where these people come from. Because, we don't see, the origin of these people here. We don't find their origin here. And they're over there lying low in the tents of other people, trying to pretend like they're from here. And we're saying either you were created here, at some later point, or you come from another world beyond a pole. Now we can really have these theories expanded. And it says, while the custodians and Anunnaki enjoyed the show, scenes were carried out on Mars in wars for territory. As time passed, the human colony settled on another island near the lands of Area due to the loss of territory. And of the last humanity, the first human to visit them was Richard Byrd on one of his expeditions crossing the South Pole, obviously commanded and aided by his custodial leader, Nimrod. Whoa. Slow down. Because we heard of Richard Byrd, but we didn't know that his custodial leader was Nimrod, quote unquote. What? Okay, let me clear my throat. Get my cup of water. So you telling me that that's, what they're calling the energy behind these custodians? The same Nimrod? That? Is it the same situation? Same frequency? I mean, ain't his birthday December 25th too? Just like JC? Just like Zeus? Is it all one thing? Is it all one thing? Let's go. Oh, man, we're getting some drop out of this, man. Dizzle Fitty got us popping off. Dizzle Fitty got us popping off. So it's saying Richard Byrd, who was commanded and aided by Nimrod, several soldiers of the U.S. Army, and some invited leaders of secret societies, some of them famous politicians, managed to cross the passage that is known today with his name. What? With his name? Managa, what does it mean? What does it mean with his name? They had to use Nimrod's name to do what? Cross the passage? The known passage through the ice wall? Okay. In the central lands of Agri, Argyre, is a portal with direct connection to the Anunnaki lands established there at the beginning of the colonization. Today, it is a prosperous area and there are no major conflicts. In fact, they are lands that some human beings can visit as a reward for tasks carried out for the custodians or Los Custodios or Nimrod in them. Hey, do you believe in these portals? Do you believe in magic? Do you see why Nagas had to help hold down Nagaville all across the plain? Whether they in Russia, Spain, South America, Antarctica, Australia, Africa, East and West, North and South, Asia here, Asia there, India here, India there, China here, China there, Japan here, Kapangu there, or here. And they're talking about a direct connection with these Anunnaki lands. Quote unquote, because Anunnaki, they're just talking about these fallen ones or star, star folk, supposedly star people, right? But, these are just, other Nagas that got the drop on other lands and, they're trying to, colonize. I mean, they ain't no real Nagas, you know what I'm saying? But they are hiding in the tents, Now, it says that these human beings can visit these other lands as a reward for tasks carried out. So this is what these people be, jonesing over. They're like, yo, I got some secret knowledge. They join these secret groups. They get secret knowledge. They say, hey, so let me tell you, man, you want to hit these other lands up? I can get a plane over there. Matter of fact, let's hit that vortex. We can hit this portal up. I'll take you there. And they're like, what? This is for real? Hey, man, it's a whole nother heaven. When they say, I got a spot for you in heaven. Oh, man, is there a heaven for a G? And maybe Thoth got a whole heaven for his supposed G's, you know. He got a whole giant gang. He got a gang full of giants. Thoth's giants are popping off. The gods of, giants of Thoth are popping off. You know he got a heaven for a G. Oh man, you make this deal, I got a whole island for you, bro. I got a heaven for a G. Damn. It is known that some of them even stay there because they manage to rejuvenate their bodies and get to live long years compared to the known lands and the toxins and the polluted air that leaks out. So again, this author is Nos Confunden, Nosconfunden, Confunden. You know, it's about the navigator who, is getting behind Antarctica, behind these ice walls, and he's finding these other lands and these other peoples, and he's seeing some, real things pop off. And hey, it's one thing for us to have a hunch about what's going on. It's another thing to continue to find more validation, whether it's written in, this form or that form. You know what I'm saying? They could write it in poetic form. It don't matter if it got drop in it, connected to the investigation. We on it, man. We digging on it, man, because this is Drop Nation. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. So we're gonna belly flop into chapter 17. Now I'm just getting it as I got it. You know what I mean? And I love it this way. I don't want it in no particular order. Man, we just popping off, man. So that was chapter 20. Let's get back a little into chapter 17, see if we can piece some of this together. The summer portal was a success since the custodians were not noticing our presence when entering the lands for several years. The entire group and even Butler were prohibited from entering by order from Fael, who considered that if we were there, they would not only put an end to our lives, but they would try to get information from us using any means. This summer portal they talking about, Managi, is on the map. We're going to get it again. We'll show you. Matter of fact, let's do this right quick. We're going to keep the fire burning. We're going to head over to our IG page. Make sure y'all, hit up the IG page, man. Tell us what it do. 432 to drop. Yeah, love to There's No Place Like Home. Great reconner, man. She did great recon. And she found this map. She put it on her community page, man. And I had to share, of course, because it lines up with a lot of these other maps. Now, supposedly, we don't know. I ain't got no confirmation, but it does, make for an interesting addition to the investigation. This map is hanging up in the UN. I mean, is that the word? Is this map hanging up in the UN, man? Make sure we still got that fire burning. Turn up that fire. Hey, fire started. My noggin, Hezekiah, man, throw some more of that sage on the fire, bro. What it do? Ahab Club, hey. Let's go, man. I'm popping off. Five Eyes Ma, what it do? Look out for that Ma Pack 1. Oh, man, it's the long anticipated first album, first pack from, the original Ambassador Tribe of Music, man. So we putting every single Ma, Jigga, Five Eyes Ma song, man, every single track on a beautiful flash drive. And the flash drive look like a rock guitar, man. It's going to be beautiful. And we'll let you know how to pre-order that to get all of the Ma experience, man. I mean, the Tribe Up music experience all the way up. All the way up. If you ever wanted to Tribe Up and experience Tribe Up music, look out for Ma Pack 1, man. Hitting the drop shop. We popping off. Man. Hey, out to the bro. I'm proud of you. He's put a lot into this project. He's put so much studio time into this project. So, and I know my bros, digging on this because he be in that copper thread popping off, saying. So my bro do get linky, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is what we do, Drop Nation, man. If you got the drop, man, continue to send us your beautiful production. All the producers out there, we need you, man. The artists, we need you. Tribal music's going all the way up. It's our own genre. We popping off, you know what I'm saying? We doing it for the creator. And, we're doing it for the tribe, man. Tribal music. Tribal mafia. My Pack 1. Five Eyes Ma. SHW 5 Eyes Ma. We popping off. Let's go. So let's go, man. Let's go. Let's go. As you see, I'm excited over here in Drop Nation to have the fire burn, and look at something like this while we do it. Now, what are these lands doing outside of the ice wall, right? North America, South America, Africa and Asia and all that, Australia. Managa, what's up? We're talking about the summer portal. You don't believe this is the summer portal? Managa. Like the great researcher, there is no place like home says, question the narrative, man. Don't worry, man. Don't worry, man, because even though these are a little blurry here, the picture's getting clear. The picture's getting clear. We're talking about the land of the Anunnaki, right? So this map seems to line up exactly with this particular source here that we're reading. You know what I'm saying? Love to dizzle fitty, man. And, just use your imagination. You know what I mean? Here's the Anunnaki territories, right? So they got all their stuff on lock. Like, you want to get in and out, it's going, you ain't just going to stumble into the Anunnaki territory. They got a lot of territory before you get into the inner ring. It looks like it's not that much land within the inner ring. It's like mostly water. So maybe that's why they colonizing so much. Like they got some real, maybe they got like a real crappy deal. Man, we don't got that much land. We got hella water and a little bit of land. We overpopulated. So that's why they're yelling about overpopulation, trying to project it into our mind bone. Because maybe all this stuff out here ain't that habitable. And looky, they just stumble into our situation here. Stumble through that first ring, stumble through that second ring. Now you got Thoth the Moving Island right about here. And then you come into it, you got North America, South America, all right here. So they just say, yo, there's hella more land over right here. Now, did they do the same thing over here? Is this where, you be popping off this Mars flow? Who knows, man? Who knows? But again, the story gets more clear. I mean, meditate on it, man. We're going to get back into the story, but I just want to show you this ain't no play. At least for investigative purposes. It goes hand in hand with another great researcher, and the experimentation is absolutely published, and everything with F. Amadeo Giannini in the 1920s, the U.S. Navy, stratospheric experimentation, all the stuff they're launching these rockets up and getting all this footage, and taking all these tests of the stratosphere and all this stuff, man. They're just showing that, hey, we look like stars to them. From a certain distance, New Mexico and all that starts to look like a cluster of stars and all that kind of stuff. They're just showing like it's all about perspective. And the further you go up, the more you realize ain't no curvature. And they went, over and over again with all these stratospheric experimentations in the 20s, 30s, and what we don't even get to question anything no more. But even the U.S. Navy was exploring, right, with Richard Byrd. Even they said, maybe there's more land, keep going. What else would they be looking for? And all these extremities of the world they're going to. Well, they're looking for more worlds, my nigga. They know there's more worlds beyond the pole. Here's the book here. El Navegante que cruzó las murallas de hielo, mundos detrás de la Antártida. And the translation is the navigator who crossed the ice walls, worlds behind Antarctica by nose confunde. And Dizzle Fitty, my bro, was love. He had the love in his heart bone, man. And he went ahead and got a lot of the translations for these chapters. And hey, the love is real. The Ahab is real. We appreciate you, bro. Because man, if this is true, this connected with the origin of these Nagas, is neck and neck, bone and bone with some of the biggest cover-up, of all time. Between this, Prester John and the Dragons, and again, the origin of you, I mean, I don't think it gets no realer than that. And it all seems to play, all this seems to go hand in hand, man. So, yeah, we're talking about a summer portal. Summer portal. So, again, doesn't this map in the UN look a lot like what we've been seeing? Especially right here. And it's just showing you in the UN, it's just showing you this inner circle called the Antarctic Circle. You got the Antarctic Treaty. They're all going to guard the circle. Now, there's cracks to get out, but there's one big gap right here that we're looking at in that UN situation. And if we look closely, it says Summer Gate. Now, this Nas Confundant is talking about the summer portal was a success since the custodians were not noticing our presence when entering the lands for several years. The summer portal. So, bang. Now, outside of that summer portal, you got these lands that look very familiar with the ones on the UN. And the one that keeps coming up in this book is these shifting islands of Thoth. Why they call them shifting, hey, that's up to you. But here it's called Thoth, the moving island. Is it play? This island also shows up on that Japanese map that's supposed to be 1,000 years old with all these other worlds outside of it. And, maybe this is what Admiral Byrd was referring to when he said, I saw another huge land outside of America, outside of South America, that would line up with Thoth, the moving island. And didn't Buzz Aldrin say something about the evil behind Antarctica and yada yada? Hey, maybe he's just talking about these giants of Thoth in them. Yeah, they got a moon called Yaw. I don't think they'll be playing with Hawaii's name like that. So this is what you call the creator. Just know they playing with it for a reason. They playing with it for a reason. Wow. Okay, so summer portal, big opening, some small cracks that you can slide through, but one big gateway right here. You think this is play? You see the currents, how they flow, clockwise, counterclockwise, which would be east and west according to this orientation. This will be the same as the azimuthal equidistant AE map projection or flat earth map projection with the bird's eye view looking down you know, like you're looking over the ice, you know, on top of the ice wall, you know, and you pull out, and you see more perspective. Which way is south? South ice, south ice, south ice, south ice. Yeah, every direction away from the so-called northern, you know, magnetic center would be south. You see how you see these arrows here? Just showing you, counterclockwise, clockwise. That's east and west, my man. That is east and west. Orientation. Orientation. How low does it go? How low does it go? Question the narrative. Why wouldn't they tell us about more land outside the wall? Maybe they want us to believe this extra land is extraterrestrial space. Huh? I don't know, my Nagas. I don't know. But it's getting real interesting, man. And, you know, we're going to keep the drive flowing on the IG. Hey, out to everyone always checking in, showing the love. And, you know, if you're on the IG, you can always click on the GoFundMe to help us build our fence for Joy World, my Naga. Ahab to all the contributors, you know, with the great contributions, man. Man, we have a good time, man, dropping that drive. And, you know, one hole at a time, man. One hole at a time, man, to put our fence up. Five Eyes Ma, you know he's popping off, man. Most High over everything, man. MHO, we building for Joy World. Shalom to the real ones. Shalom to the tribe. Oh man. I might have to check this out. Oh man. Managa, can you believe this, man? Can you believe this, man? 3, 2, 1. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Ignition. 2, 1. Come on, man. Y'all believe that, man? This is popping off from the moon. Apollo 17. Look at this ignition. Come on, man. Firecrackers, man. Hey, I'm Clyde Bay, man. Clyde Bay. He showed me this, got me going crazy. Ignition, man. Y'all going crazy. It's the Brett Clyde Bay. Man, one of the greatest professional boxing coaches out here in LA. Got a knocker throwing ones and twos, man, you know. Ahab, Aqua, Abiyah, Ahab, Ak Viper, professional boxer as well, man. We got some hands in the tribe, man. Hey, that's for real, for real. Ahab, the Ak Hezekiah, man, who be keeping the fire burning, man. And, hey, you know, this bro right here do everything, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the bro's not afraid to, you know, learn something and just master it, man. So we're learning hand in hand, man, to build a fence for Joy World, man. And, you know, we're learning hand in hand, man, and putting it together, getting the shed insulated. You know what I'm saying? Clave popping off for real, the bros can do anything, man. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing to see him work. And, you know, I'm over here just in the back of the class, man, just learning, man, learning for real. So, you know, if you're a master builder, if you're a master at whatever your trade is, I'm trying to learn, my nigga. I'll sit in the back of the class or the front of the class, you know, so you could pop off and take the wheel and teach us what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? You got an expertise. We want to learn from you, man. That's how we do. So, you know, you gotta be able to fall back, man, and surf the wave. And hey, Club A, man, this is a beautiful beginning. You see what your, you know, great donations and contributions been going to, my Naga. You know, getting Naga ready, man. And, you know, all this has been because of you. Every single penny of it been going right here. So please continue your support because we got a long way to go. We're going to need a lot more support. And, you know, we're going to get there together. Hit my 500 code keepers Nagas. Hey, out to my 500 code keepers for your contribution. Ahab to peculiar joy. Hey, we do it for Joy World, man. Nagaville. Hawaii, man. Shalom to the whole team. Hit the link below to support my Nagas. Yeah, man. Clyde Bay got us throwing ones and twos, man. I told y'all, man. This ain't no play, man. Play, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. We out of here, man. Clyde Bay got us throwing ones and twos. Ahab Trixie, man. You know, Ahab Trixie. All right, man. I'm having too much fun on the IG. Surfed away with us. Surfed away. So now we know we got a summer gate. Summer portal, they said. All right. Let's get cozy. I know it might be a little cold in your area. We're gonna turn the fire up for you, though. We're gonna turn the fire up for you, my night. Allah. Keep the fire burning for all the prisoners behind the wall, because we realize we also are prisoners behind the wall. You know what I'm saying? Man, they ain't never sounded, they ain't never hit more different than it do today, that we are prisoners behind the wall. But they came to our own land, put us in captivity. So we in captivity on our own land. And we behind the wall. Allah. All right. I'm good. Let's go, man. I'm going to take my time with this. Allah. Got to take our time with this because, got to be here a little, there a little. It's heavyweight. It sounds like some cartoon shit. You know what I'm saying? Sound real cartoony, More worlds beyond a pole, but then you believe in all these other planets, right? All these other solar systems, but they can't just be more land. They can't just be more land, right? Well, my noggin, we popping off, so let's go. We still in chapter 17. I'll get it again. The summer portal was a success since the custodians were not noticing our presence. So were they sneaking in? They weren't noticing our presence when entering the lands for several years. The entire group and even Butler were prohibited from entering by order from Fael, who considered that if we were there, they would not only put an end to our lives, but they would try to get information from us using any means, and the whole plan would run a serious risk. As we said, the plan had to be perfect or not exist at all, because a failed plan was a guaranteed reset. Sound like that Men in Black thing, they just reset you, reset your memory. The years passed, and the plan for the spiritual awakening of the human being in the known lands had been increasing and was unfolding correctly and safely. All right, so he's almost saying like beyond the plains, or beyond our known lands, they have a plan for our spiritual awakening. We would say that the Creator has a plan for us to, get our ourselves back, our inheritance back, to return, right? In Hosea 3 and 5, Israel will return and seek the Creator directly, right? So, putting it together, the years passed and the plan for the spiritual awakening of the human being in the known lands had been increasing and was unfolding correctly and safely. The teachers who entered through the summer portal were able to carry out the teachings in the form of education that any child received here in these lands, prioritizing the importance of the human soul, unconditional love, and empathy. Unfortunately, as we imagine, it is they began to notice certain black hands around these teachings, confusing the human being and causing many to move away. These great premises began to be corrupted as well as to become a cruel business. But as I said before, there were other plans to supplant these others when things started to get dark. It was a constant fight so that our incidents is not discovered, but nor should the plans fall into custodial hands completely. It was now time to carry out another plan that would bring consequences. A navigator and faithful friend would arrive from these lands with a boat built here, simulating the time of that movement, and would tell his story to the world. He would reveal main topics that needed to be known to the one who wanted to hear. All right, we still talking about Admiral Byrd. You know what I'm saying? Is that part of their plan of awakening? You know, because we do use that information to this day, right? We talk about Admiral Byrd. It's a big part of the so-called awakening for sure. You know, is this another piece of the story? You know what I mean? You know, are we looking behind the veil a little bit? Either way, it's very interesting because Admiral Byrd got a whole diary that they act like he's crazy. You know, he's having communications with these people. They connected it with the hollow earth situation. But of course, we're just talking about a flat plane. And of course, you know, you got levels to it. So, you know, if you go within the plane, you're going within mama. You can call it hollow earth if you want to, but you ain't on no damn ball. You ain't on no damn ball. So he said a navigator. So it was now time to carry out another plan. So here's their other plan. A navigator would arrive from these lands with a boat built here, simulating the time of that movement, and would tell his story to the world. He would reveal main topics that needed to be known to the one who wanted to hear. Antarctic passage between ice walls, discovery of other lands. The ancestral republic would be named for the first time in the history of his humanity with a different name. The story would be interspersed with both economic and social issues of the time to his apprehension. We knew the system created based on strong specific conditionings by means of heliocentrism. Heliocentrism, Managa, means that the sun is at the center. Helios is at the center. And you are worshiping it. You're going around and around it, dancing around it like a, you know, in your Baal, in your ball. No, you're not worshiping the sun. You're not dancing around it. It's dancing around you. So what does that mean? What does it mean when Joshua commanded the sun to stand still while he finished his war? And not only did the sun stand still, but the moon stood still. How could that happen if he's going around the sun? The sun would say, nigga, you stand still. You going around me. What you talking about? But the sun didn't say that. The sun said, all right, man. I'll stand still, man. Yeah, Joshua was that real magi. Heliocentrism, you going around the sun? Nah, that couldn't happen. Or else, you know, Joshua, couldn't be happening. That doesn't make sense. To be a big, gigantic ball that we're going around while we're traveling 67,000 miles per hour, spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, and then we tell the sun to stand still. When we doing all that moving, How can someone moving that fast tell you to stand still? I think it's a body bag for the illusion. Joshua made the sun stand still. That's a body bag for the illusion. Ain't no heliocentrism. It's geocentric, my nigga. We knew the system created based on the strong scientific conditioning. Copernicus, right? Strong scientific conditioning by means of heliocentrism. It was no easy task. The ancient navigator spent some time in a well-known port within the ice walls, where he showed the curious a lot of real information about the Republic and the human country, even about the human giants. Before the story was published, a lot of information was manipulated, and the story came out halfway between quite confusing and leaving several important points not mentioned. The author ended up disappearing and locked up. My faithful friend returned urgently to the lands since this would call the attention of the custodians, who would seek by all means to understand how the information had been leaked. Although they trusted his manipulation, they would seek other means to dissuade him, and we knew that a not-so-friendly visit was expected that could come from both the known, custodial, or Anunnaki lands. The custodians avoided us again, and this made us stronger. The giant humans, as Butler once commented, sooner or later would offer their help, and great technology was shared again. And with this, we were again in front of the custodial advance. What were the movements of the custodians in this, quote, silent war? They would use the human being that they would equip with its technology. This would bring great consequence, since the human being was not prepared for the use of such advanced technology. Added to the custodial colonizer conditioning, it was a time bomb that did not take long to arrive. Great war and deadly plague were rushing inside of the environment for the enjoyment of Los Custodios. Human expeditions to Antarctica began, financed by leaders who had a direct connection with the reigning power. They knew that they should focus on education to continue corrupting the new human generations. What? They're focused on education not to educate. They're focusing on education to continue corrupting the human generations. Body bag for the illusion. Don't bring up no public school education saying we from Africa, we spending it on a ball. Banaga, let's hijack city. Everything they're teaching us is lies. Because it's all about continuing to corrupt the new human generations. And you know who they really corrupted? Because if that's what they're saying about the humans, you know what they're saying about the so-called black man, black woman, right? So-called black man, black woman, right? We're talking about corruption. Let's go. Several space achievements would come to lay solid foundations for heliocentrism. The possibility of other lands behind the ice wall would be almost buried. They began then with the creation of bases around the entire Antarctic ring added to the exclusion zones, a strong militarization of key areas. Also not long after the summer portal, or the summer gate, my man, was discovered. So not long after they discovered this portal opening, because this gate must be a portal. Whoa, it's not like you just go through. It might be like a Wakanda situation, like a Wakanda Forever situation. So not long after they discovered this portal, the custodians took this as a game to demonstrate their power against ours. We felt that in a way they enjoyed it because they also knew that they were taking risks for others. A few years before the first custodial attack would come to our lands called Operation High Jump. Whoa. My noggin. Dizzle Fitty, where you at? Man, we've been reconning this, right? I mean, since 2016. Operation Fishbowl, Operation High Jump. These are all U.S. Navy expeditions. We call them expeditions in the Arctic expeditions and Antarctic expeditions. Again, recon the Antarctic Treaty. Recon the treaty. They working together, boss. They acting like they're at war in the puppet show, but they're still working together with this Antarctic Treaty. It's never been broken, my nigga. Never been broken. Never. They playing us, man. They publicizing all the stuff in the news, and Putin's this, and Biden's this, and such. But they are working together in these other lands beyond the pole. More lands, more work. They are unified, but they put the appearance of disunity out to cause more chaos and to get us more distracted and, you know what I'm saying, divide and conquer, all that, you know what I mean? But, you know, they spin it in so many ways. But the divide and conquer principle is in its greatest effect when my people are against each other. Not so much, the whole world is against each other. My nigga, the whole world has never been unified, man. Never. You know what I'm saying? It's always been tribal war. Don't try to sell us on something that's never happened before. But our people, I'm not just talking about all the black race, because all the black race has never been unified. It's always been tribal war. So don't try to sell me on some black unity that's never happened before. And we ain't even black. It's been tribal war, man. Since the days of Cain and Abel and all that stuff, right? So stop it with this unity stuff. But perhaps our tribe, you know, perhaps our tribe can be unified. You know, the world will have to witness and see the power of the unity that comes from keeping code with the children of Hasharah. Love to Yosef, the real for them Tokef and Knox, keeping the fire burning. Another fire starter. Perhaps the tribes of Hawaquah, of Jacob, you know, perhaps the tribes of the Khan Dawood can unify with the code and keep the fire burning. Not as a black race, but as the copper-colored Amaru Khans holding down India's superior in code. And we know that all our niggas across the plain gonna reel up with us and choose up with us and be one vibe. And once we have that unity, you know, we'll be ready to unify with anyone across the earth plane, no matter who you are, as long as you in code. But we talking order, right? So in order to do that, we got to unify with each other, or else we don't have an entity. We don't have that drop, you know. But that's what we're doing right now. We're focusing on our unity. And with that, as long as you help us focus on our unity, we can one day be united and unified with you. But not if you know hijack, you know what I'm saying? He's talking about Operation High Jump, man. This ain't no play. I mean, you know, just for the real ones in the building. Operation High Jump. You know, just put it in. Look at some basics, man. Just cover some basics. It's flat drop 101, man. There's a 50, you know. I got you, man. Operation High Jump. Officially titled the United States Navy Antarctic Development Program between 1946 and 1947, was a U.S. Navy operation. You turn the fire up a little bit. We felt that in a way they enjoyed it because they also knew that they were taking risk for others. A few years before the first custodial attack would come to our lands, called Operation High Jump. Now, they said the leader of these custodians is quote unquote Nimrod. And he's the one really financing and pushing this Admiral Byrd, which would mean that he must be beefing with these Anunnakis. I mean, some celestial war popping off. Now they get behind and use, Admiral Byrd in this situation. Now this is considered an attack on these other realms. Now we don't know if these other realms look like this or like that, I would assume that the originals there look the same as the originals here, but perhaps they're fighting others that are colonizing those other areas that do look more like, the hijack here, you know what I'm saying? So if they're being hijacked over there, then maybe it's a hijack on hijack power struggle going down over, over there. I don't know. We don't know what we don't know, but what we do know is that these niggas pulling out spades, you know what I'm saying? They ain't pulling, they're pulling out spades, man. They're bringing up Operation High Jump. You don't just bring up Operation High Jump for the heck of it. You don't just bring it up and just throw it out the window, my nigga. Nah, you jump high, man. This is Operation High Jump. That means what? You got to jump up over Antarctica, right? You got to get up the wall. You got to climb that. You got to high jump over the ice wall to keep going and do what you got to do with your operation. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, supposedly, all right, they established Antarctic Research Base Little America. Is that a front for another America like, Thought the Moving Island, or a whole nother situation that they really are, trying to pop off more worlds beyond the pole? The operation was organized by Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd, Jr., U.S. Navy retired officer in charge, Task Force 68, and led by Rear Admiral Ethan Eric Larson, U.S. Navy Commanding Officer, Task Force 68. Operation High Jump commenced the 26th of August, 1946 ended late February 1947. Task Force 68 included 4,700 men. This is a military operation. They sent 5,000 men over there, 13 ships, 33 aircraft. This is a military operation, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here's the objectives, I think we're trying to see clearly what the objectives are, my noggin. 5,000 men, 33 aircraft. Let's keep the fire burning. A few years before the first custodial attacks would come to our lands called Operation High Jump, 5,000 soldiers. Let's go. By means of a large number of human soldiers and custodial technology. The media barely mentioned it, right? They don't talk about it. They don't talk about this military operation beyond Antarctica and how they got their butts whooped. They got their whole entire butt whooped by something over there. Let's read about it. Let's go. The media barely mentioned it, but it was one of the largest movements carried out by any military force in the history of the new humanity. New humanity because, there's been a reset, The leader was known as Richard Byrd and was used in several missions in recognition of other lands, but in official missions, he would never reach our lands, although his attack could endanger our people. So in the official mission, he would never reach our lands. Although his attack could endanger people, both we and the Anakim do not think they had intentions to attack them, but to make them withdraw their armed forces in a peaceful way. The Anakim masters spoke several times with their leader, but another force entered the conflict, and a great battle was fought just beyond the first dome. Then the same leader would make contact with the teachers several times, and Akeem and he would also help us to carry out the plan of human awakening within the known lands, becoming an infiltrator for a time, at the same time by his own decision or by obligation. This changed completely, and according to what we were informed, the military leader gave information, valuable and secret mention of the Anakim technology, and he was the first of the group of the new humanity to be sent to Mars in recognition of his work. Attacking us with other human beings was one of the many evil strategies of the enemy. It was their way of demonstrating their power and making us face our past. So like they in the future, before the previous resets, you know what I mean? Kind of reminds me of this, I forgot what this show is, man. I know somebody's thinking about it, but it's like these two militaries, but, one is like in the future, one's in the past, but they're having this war. It's crazy. It's crazy. Kind of reminds me of this, man. and making us face our past since we sought to liberate it and not face them in absurd battles that were defended by mere conditioning. We knew that all this game they were playing would end abruptly because of their way of acting. We were going to continue gaining ground in this awakening, and they would begin attacks within the environment with the different techniques of always natural stresses, pandemics, wars between nations, etc. Those academic books that until now seemed untouchable began to be strongly questioned. Drop Nation, let's go. And the entire academy began to reel over the possibility of another model. The infinite earth would begin to emerge. We ain't just buying into this Copernican theory no more. Hundreds of years ago. No more heliocentrism. You feeling firm, fixed, and immovable once again? So their academic books that seem to be untouchable, began to be strongly questioned. And the entire academy began to reel over the possibility of another model. The infinite earth would begin to emerge, and it would be the last plan that would give way to the final liberation attempt. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause right there because I got a few more, man. I got a few more of this ammo, man, by the bro Dizzle. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's good for us to marinate with a little bit. While we kind of make our dismount with a couple tings around here. I love the Dizzle 50. Hey, man, we ain't done, man. We ain't done. We got much more to cover, man. This is really getting interesting over here. Again, a really good source, man, and it's really seems to be connecting with, what we already been digging on for 5 or 6 years, man. So that's why I appreciate it, man. And we're gonna dig on some real funny things, man. Fair use in your caboose bone, Section 107, copyright allowance is made for fair use, criticism, comment, teaching, education, But their education, they weren't trying to really teach, what I'm saying? They were just trying to misinform. Our research is the recon, We're doing the recon, man. Okay, we're going to keep the fire, we're going to bring it to, kind of a simmer. We're going to bring it to a simmer. Love to the bro as a guy, man. He loves, bringing it down to them embers, man. And it's a beautiful, it just takes you to a whole nother place, man, to enjoy, those beautiful embers, man, of the sage bushes, man. And it's just beautiful, man, popping off. Enjoy world, man. Love to the Ak, Hezekiah, man. Lightning fires, man. Man. Ignition, man.
Army Destiny, I'm going to get the pro. 99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
Oh,
damn, man. 2, 1, ignition.
Come on, man. Y'all believe this, man?
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston.
Come on,
man.
Man.
Good. Ag thought.
Who's holding the camera, man? Who got left behind, man? Who said, hey, man, just give me the camera, man. Just give me the camera. Y'all go. I'll hold it down, man. I'm going to get the best angles, man. I promise, man. I'm going to do it for America, man. Just leave me on the moon. Fly me to the moon. Man, they on some serious play with this ignition, man. Look, oh, come on, man. They love the Clyde, man. Firecracker, huh? Like an M80, huh? Like a little sparkety sparks, huh? And that popped them off the moon. They out of here now, man. Look at them. They just taking off in the desert sky, man. Or are they in some type of theater, you know? Where's the stars? Where's the stars? Why does this thing start doing this little loopy loop here? It's gonna give us a little zigzag now. A little ziggity zag. Zigzag, zigzag. I don't know, man. What y'all tell me, man, you know? Ignition.
You're good. Ag side.
Ignition.
99. Proceeded. 3, 2,
I believe
1.
this, man.
Ignition. Right away, Houston.
Really, man?
Thanks, you're good.
And this thing crossed the Van Allen belt and landed back on Earth, on the ball. Spinning ball. The Earth spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. It slipped in there. Didn't get ripped up. Didn't get radiated on. It's all good. All right, so with that in mind, last time we got some of the Elon Musk flow. This time, man, we're gonna enjoy a little bit of this press conference, man, right quick, man. Before we do that, you know, just remember this Antarctic Treaty, well, Operation High Jump is popping off when 46. So after this became the treaty, they said, man, we got to charge up with other people. We got to tribe up after this 1946 situation. So now we'll put in man, I can't make this up, man. Just put it together. Let's just, do some detective work. My Spanish, Arctic Treaty. What we got now, Wiki? Wait, what we got now? The treaty system? Sure. What's the treaty system about? What's the treaty system? They got it, Antarctica, in their crosshairs. Like they just aiming at it, right? Come on, man. The Antarctic Treaty and related agreements, collectively known as the Antarctic Treaty System, regulate international relations with respect to Antarctica, Earth's only continent without a native human population. Really? Because there wasn't no cap on Antarctica's ice bone. Chest bone. According to these maps that we digging on, hey, go get your flat pack with the maps with no ice on Antarctica's chest bone. Seem to be Naga's popping off just fine. But now it's just ice. Now it's just no native population. It was the first arms control agreement established during the Cold War, setting aside the continent as a scientific preserve, right, or a gateway, or, just a boundary, establishing freedom of scientific investigation and banning military activity while really popping off Operation High Jump. How you gonna ban military activity after popping off one of the largest military campaigns of all time? Of their Navy, you know what I'm saying? So, come on, man. So, all right. Headquartered in Buenos Aires, Argentina, the main treaty was opened for signature on December 1st, 1959, and officially entered into force on June 23rd, 1961. So, yeah, okay, it's about 15 years after the Operation High Jump. Took them 15 years to say, man, we need to tribe up and try this again. Because whatever we facing over here, we can't face alone. We need all the hijacks in on this one. Now they got the G20 summits and all that. It's all the same thing. So they first popped off with these 12 major countries, major powers. Antarctica, Australia, Belgium, they had to get these guys because they were so close to the wall anyway. Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, Soviet Union or Russia, the UK, and the U.S. They had to get all the homies in on this. These countries had established over 55 Antarctic research stations, so they already got bases popping off right there. Shalati says, for research, huh? Yeah, man, that's their battle stations. Just like Game of Thrones, they protecting the wall. They protecting the wall. And subsequent promulgation of the treaty was seen as diplomatic expression of the operational and scientific cooperation that had been achieved. As of 2019, 54 parties are now involved. So it went from 12 to 54. So all, how could they all be at war when they have such a treaty with so many parties? Have you ever seen such a large treaty? Such a large treaty? Now we're talking about the conflicts. Operation High Jump was carried out, the largest military expeditionary force that the U.S. had sent to Antarctica to the present, consisting of 13 ships, 4,700 men, numerous aerial devices. Its goals were to train military personnel. Come on, man. Yeah, we're going to send 5,000 people to train personnel and do some testing in conditions of extreme cold. You send 5,000 people for a test run for extreme cold conditions, man. So since you know that they playing around with Operation High Jump, you know they playing with this other stuff too. That means all this other stuff must have been continual conflicts that may or may not be, getting addressed in this particular text about the navigator who crossed the ice wall worlds beyond Antarctica. But other than this 1946-47 situation, let's put it all together. You got some more incidents occurring during World War II, which was probably really all about this ice wall situation. And the new one occurred in Hope Bay on February 1st, 1952, when the Argentine military fired warning shots at a group of Britons. The response of the United Kingdom was to send a warship that landed Marines at the scene of February 4th, 1949, Argentina, Chile, and United Kingdom signed a tripartite naval declaration commenting not to send warships south of the 60th South Parallel, which was renewed annually until 1961, when it was deemed unnecessary. When the treaty entered into force, the tripartite declaration was signed after the tension generated when Argentina sent a fleet of 8 warships to Antarctica in 1948. Did they send the warships for the cover story of these Britons? Was that just all right, fire some shots, let's make a cover story? Or did they need some, backup? They had to send 8 warships in 1948. Yeah, then you got this Argentina reopened the Lieutenant La Sala Refuge on Deception Island, leaving a sergeant and corporal in Argentine Navy. 1915, in the incident of Deception Island, 22 Royal Marines landed on the British frigate HMS Snipe, armed with Sten machine guns, rifles, tear gas, capturing the 2 Argentine sailors. The Argentine refuge or refugee, and a nearby uninhabited Chilean shelter were destroyed, and the Argentine sailors were delivered to the ship from that country on February 18th in the South Georges Islands. So, I mean, they're making plays. They're making, little power moves back and forth. Is it about the resources? Admiral Byrd said they're going to probably have an issue over these resources, man. I can't make this up. They bringing this stuff up. We're reading this great doc, man, but, it's all connected. You could recon Admiral Byrd. Yeah, Admiral Byrd. Interview, long jeans. There's a young long jeans. Yeah, chronoscope. There we go. Let's get this, particular piece, what he's talking about, finding more land. I mean, it's right in our face. It's not just one book we're looking at. He's bringing things together. The high jump, Richard Byrd situation, the off the moving island situation. Just check this piece out right quick, man. Fair use in your caboose bone.
It's time for the Longines Chronoscope, a television journal of the important issues of the hour, brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. A presentation of the Longines Whitnor Watch Company, maker of Longines, world's most honored watch, and Whitnor, distinguished companion to the world-honored Longines. Good evening, this is Frank Knight. May I introduce our co-editors for this edition of the Longines Chronoscope? Larry Lasser, CBS News correspondent, and Kenneth Crawford, National Affairs Editor of Newsweek magazine. Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
The North Pole used to be a no man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across the North Pole and drink a cocktail at the same time. Yet only 30 or more years ago, about 35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I mean, body bag for the illusion. I mean, how many times we got to get it? We'll get it as many we need, man. As many as you need, man. To get off your ball. Because you can't find more land beyond the South Pole point on your ball. Noggin, all this extra land ain't gonna fit on your ball. These are more lands beyond the plane, man. He went straight beyond the imaginary pole point. We're gonna get that world's beyond the pole for a dismount. Again, they're talking about militarily, even with the supposed North Pole. That's just another pole point within this circle, within this Antarctic circle, my noggin. That's just another point. So they're saying, okay, we got military situations popping off up there. It's getting crowded up there. And there's another piece of land over here the size of America no one's seen before. And this is after they've seen it all, right? They're talking about going to the moon. They done seen all the Earth. What this nigga just say, man? What did he just say?
Might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily.
Military.
But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole, on the other side of the South Pole, from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
Well, Admiral,
Yeah.
would you say that since you've been to both the extremities of Earth, are these expeditions to such far places, are they getting easier because of modern techniques, or is danger still close at hand?
Well, it's a little risky, but nothing like it used to be with the old slow planes and the small cruising radius where we had to put down bases. We replaced the dog teams, and of course that was a big improvement. But now the planes go much faster and they are safer, and they have a much bigger cruising radius. You haven't got the danger of a terribly heavy load.
Admiral, an expedition to which I believe you're the advisor is now en route. What is that expedition doing?
Well, that's the icebreaker Atka, and it's a reconnaissance expedition. It's going down to the South Pole area to make certain observations and to look for some bases. They will be back in April, and they will report back, and upon the information we get from that undertaking, we will base the bigger expedition that's to follow.
A military recon, military bases for military missions. Look at it. This is the head of the Go Along, Get Along gang's exploration team. Looking for more noggins behind the pole. He's like their Columbus, you know what I'm saying? Columbus found a new world. He's looking for a new world. Today, he would be an astronaut. This is the real Buzz Aldrin, man. Hey, I don't think it's ever been said before. I think we should go ahead and let it be known. Richard E. Byrd is the real Buzz Aldrin, man. The real Neil Armstrong, man. These are the real astronauts finding the real worlds. This is the real, you know what I'm saying, Captain Kirk right here, man. This is Captain Kirk, man. Boldly go where no man gone before. He just told you there's more land beyond the pole.
Is that very definitely planned, or is that...
That is being planned right now. So I'm willing to say to you that there will be a number of expeditions that will follow, I think, year after year, bottom of the world, because the government has really become interested.
Well, Admiral Byrd, I can understand. I think everybody can, the interest in the North Pole, because it's so near our greatest challenger, Soviet Russia. But why this interest in the bottom of the world? Nobody living down there, is there?
No, it's pretty cold. There's only one permanent resident, that's the emperor penguin. The little ones live further north. I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science. That's why the scientific groups all over the nation are really interested. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime. Because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources. And, you know, as the world shrinks with an ever-increasing acceleration, far-flung places once useless, like we thought the North Pole was, and no man's land, become very useful. The bottom of the world will be important, not only to us, but to our allies.
I was going to ask you, does it have military importance?
It has some, and as the world shrinks, it will continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration, thus bringing these places...
What does he mean, man? How many times we watch this and he keeps repeating this same thing? The world's going to continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration. Kind of reminds me of the days of Peleg, the earth being divided, like, you know, the stars are in Revelations, the stars fall to earth. You know, the stars in this case would be these other lands. And all these other lands going to be shrinking back into, you know, reconnections. You know what I'm saying? Is this earth plane going to shrink by reconnecting itself, you know? I don't know, man, but it's shrinking with an ever... How did he say it, man?
And no man's land become very useful. The bottom of the world will be important, not only to us, but to our allies.
I was going to ask you, does it have military importance?
It has some, and as the world shrinks, it will continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration, thus bringing these places closer. And in the future...
Thus bringing these places closer. What is he talking about? He's talking about literally proximity right here. Like, that will be closer. I mean, I don't know how else to interpret thus bringing these places closer than like something's shrinking, like they're going to reconnect. And they won't be that far when things connect. Africa's not far no more. These lands are not far no more. Huh?
I was going to ask you, does it have military importance?
It has some, and as the world shrinks, it will continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration, thus bringing these places closer. And in the future, I can see a time when it will be very, very important strategically.
Well, has the development of air power increased the strategic importance of places like the
very much
Palma Peninsula, was it?
Very much so. Even now, if anything happened and we lost the Panama Canal, we would have to control the islands just north of Antarctica, which are part of Antarctica. Then between there and Cape Horn.
I've heard it said that there are 7 continents in the world, and one of them has never been seen by a woman, and that's Antarctica. Is that actually true?
Well, if the Palma Peninsula is an island, as far as I know, that's true. No woman's ever stepped foot upon the Antarctic continent, and it's the most peaceful place in the world.
Well, I'm sure that won't last very long. I understand that now that you're working with the Arnold Bread Company in charge of frozen.
I mean, he said it right there. I'm sure that won't last that long. I'm sure that won't last that long. You know what I mean? So, we making our dismount, man. We just popping off in real time. And we just hearing it in real time that there's more land beyond the pole. We're going to get this one piece. And just surfing the wave right quick in this flat pack. Hey, out to everyone who's ordered the flash pack, flat pack, ether band. Wristband is full of flat earth recon that we've done throughout the years. The maps and books and links and videos and radio shows all on your wristband. Hit us up for it. Email us music@432thedrop.com. But check it, man. I think this is where, Admiral Byrd's talking about. This is a piece of a Japanese map that's showing, again, some type of barrier, and outside that barrier is more worlds, right? You got North America, South America, and then there seems to be another land the size of America. This particular researcher said where I think Admiral Byrd went. Now, this would also connect to that Off the Moving Island, you know what I'm saying? That was at the same exact location. Off the Moving Island, man. So, it's a lot of connection here with this Nimrod situation and then this Off the Moving Island situation. But what was this war popping off all about? Was it popping off, they said, right outside the first dome. So would this be the first dome here that this was popping off at? Was it a war with someone over here? Hey, man, flat pack. Here's the full version of the map. How many worlds are there beyond the pole, man? Which one is the size of America? It seems to be quite a few, even the size of Africa, Asia, all that stuff combined. We got to adjust our perspective, Managi. You're not on the spinning ball. These lands will be planets according to their telescopes. These would just be planets that are reflecting off the dome, firmament, the crystal, the crystallization. It's one big light show, man. One big light show. You're firm fixed and immovable. Off the moving island. Same place, right? Antarctica, South America. Off the moving island. Dodge the hijack, you know. And outside of them boundaries is more boundaries, right? I mean, flat pack. We popping off. Many reconners are breaking down the same thing. Alright, so let me just fall back and get some nice tea popping off, man. I want to watch a little bit of this NASA yeah, man. I want to watch some of this oh, right quick, man. Shout out to Vibes of Cosmos, man. Yeah, he does great work. Aquatai Batzan hit us with all the drop, man. I mean, all the drop. I'll make sure this on the next flat pack. It's going to be on flat pack too. I mean, all the drop, you know what I'm saying? So, Ahab Vibes of Cosmos, you're going to have a big feature, man, in flat pack too. Make sure the Nagas, you know, got the recon in real time, man. Anybody else want to contribute flat drop for the next packs, or, you know, links for the next Ether packs, or, you know, we got Press the Pack 2 about to pop off, man. So, but, you know, first look out for the Mod Pack 1. Hey, my jiggy. All right, man. I mean, what we got here, man? What we got here? I don't even know which one to click on, man. Let's just dig on this. So, you know, Vibes of Cosmos, you know, break things down, you know, from the moon map, reflective plasma flow, you know what I mean? Remember the great doctor, you know, Robert Foster talking about the moon as a plasma. You know, we got that drop. And the moon is a map. It's reflecting more land, you know. That's kind of what seems to be connected. The moon is reflecting more land. I mean, on this big, you know, reflection here, this big map, and, you know, think about the moon as a plasma, so you see how this would be a reflecting of more land. And I think the land we know is just like this piece right here. And all this Terra Vista is, I mean, one Terra Vista is, shit, 9 times the world we know. But you got all this Terra Vista, you got all this land, and connect this with the maps that you just saw, you know what I'm saying, with all that land. So, I mean, let's go to what we think we know, right? You know, shout out again to Vibes of Cosmos. Great research, man. Great research. Yeah, man, it's the USA, man. So this would be, you know, a reflection in like an inverted shot of, you know, what we would, you know, think on our projection. so yeah, man. Let's scroll out. North America, South America, Terra Fuego. You know, it looks like these are the boundaries that will be reflecting the ice wall. What's interesting is that we say, where's Lemuria, right? Like, where's Atlantis, right? And you see it right, you know, according to the research of Vibes of Cosmos. My naga. You got Russia, right? You know, China. China would be pretty big over here. You know, I don't know how much this is scaled, but, you know, we checking it out. Now, right near our situation, right near Russia, near the islands, you know, in between, on the Pacific side, You got big old Lemuria right there in the Pacific. Is this underwater? It appears to be so. Or who knows? I mean, how many people go this far out in the Pacific? It might just be right there. It might just be telling us it's underwater. It might just be popping off. But they have it right there, via the cosmos. And the interesting thing about on these maps that I love is that these aren't just somebody's random drawings. This is a literal map of the moon. This ain't some map from somebody in the 40s. This is what the moon looks like today. When you take your telescope, and you're staring at these things, these little craters and blots, you can actually make this out. And you can go check out his YouTube. I believe he had a YouTube where he's showing you all the shots and taking you through all the filters and all that stuff, man. So you can see this is just the moon, my nigga. So, but on it appears to be mapping everything. Not only Lemuria, but on the other side of America, you got Atlantis with all these places popping up. Chronos State, Poseidonia, Amazon, Titan, Azion, Pleiades, and you got North Atlas, so you got the full thing. My baby popping off, man. Hey, shout out to all the cons, man, getting the time in with they droplets, man. Hey, you got Island of Cyclops, all right, and then you got this whole Terra Vista popping off, so they don't even map it out. It's just so much land. The Chronos Seas popping off, so Vibe of Cosmos, man, you are blowing our mind bone. That Lemuria drop, especially, man. There's so much more land beyond the poles, man. That's all we can really say. And is this Terra Vista inside Antarctica or outside Antarctica, man? I guess it would be outside the wall, huh? Wow. Hey. It's not the only one. Maybe we'll come back to it, check out a few more of these because he got all the shots, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really beautiful. Ahab to vibes of Cosmos. Again, Admiral, is there more land? Is there more land beyond the pole, man?
Area as big as the United States that's never been seen by human.
What?
This Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole because it's getting crowded up there now because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And it's
beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. Y'all get that? Beyond the pole. Beyond the pole. Get back in my flat drop 101. Beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole. Beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole. That's why this researcher thinks this is exactly where he went. And that's why we lining it all the way up. My naga. That's why we just putting it together. But again, it's all about perspective, man. It's all about perspective. Which one did the Admiral hit up? And, before we get this dismount digging on these astronauts that want to talk about landing on the moon. The moon. How you gonna land on this plasma, man? How you gonna land on the plasma moon? It's very interesting, man, when you are trying to really get the concept together, you know. The moon is a plasma. How you gonna land on it? Okay. So, Terra Vista must have their own sun if the sun only covers that portion, you know. Terra Vista must be popping off with their own sun. We're just talking about the plasma moon apocalypse. Then, of course, you got, Dr. Foster, plasma moon, breaking down a very similar thing. Yeah. 1965 scientist says the moon is a plasma, right? Yeah, dodge the hijack, man. Let's get it from here, man.
My own intellect and from my own penetration. I have been deeply interested from early youth in the real nature of the world, and I held my own views and ideas. But many years ago, about 14 years ago, when I was challenging one of the fundamental conventional principles of science, I had a definite inspiration, not knowledge as such, but an indication and a guidance which I followed and which I worked very hard and to evolve into a new structure of understanding.
Inspiration to related to thoughts of genius. Do you think or consider yourself to be a genius?
No. I consider myself to be an ordinary, humble person who wants to serve mankind with what man has striven for from the beginning of consciousness, with truth and understanding of the world.
Well, now, one thing, you have a theory about the moon, and that we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomenon, cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you're proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profound and decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. Soft landing attempts will all...
Soft landing attempts will all fail. This doctor is as sure as it gets. He's not a part of the go along, get along gang. Love to the Kwame. Because that go along, get along gang, Shalak, man, I'm going to get my tea. That go along, get along gang is bigger than basketball, as Kwame would tell you. You know, we're talking science, man. You know what I mean? They want us to go along and get along with their narrative. You had docs like this in 65, which they silenced with all the recon, man. From here, he's bringing recon from 10, 15 years. Plus, backing his truth, you know what I'm saying, that you can never land on the moon. What does it mean? All soft landing attempts will fail. No man would ever land on it.
Now is coming close to a complete confirmation. What will be the result if you are proved to be correct in your theories? The result will be profound and decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. Soft landing attempts will all fail. That means that the mass of the moon is less, far less than is currently assumed. It's in
a different state of energy and has far less mass.
Will be profound and decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it.
No man will ever land on it. So that's why I'm laughing at these jabronis, man, as we keep our fire burning, as we keep our water flowing. That's why I'm laughing at these jabronis, man. You know what I'm saying? Over here talking about ignition like they landed on the moon. Look at this. Man, just look how fake this is. Look how studio fake this is. And you tell me they talking ignition? All soft landing attempts will fail. Ignition?
Engine arm is out. Okay, I'm going to get the pro. 99, proceeded. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good. Ag side.
Stop it, man. Just cut it out, man. Y'all just stop the play. Play for 1 damn minute. But I guess the play is all they know for the dismount.
We're ready now for question and answers, and wait for the microphone, and we'll go right down the line, and we'll catch everyone if you'll just be patient.
Go along, get along, gang, man. This is when they are teaming up to make sure they got the story straight. They just went to the moon and came back. Action.
How much time did you have left in your life support backpacks at the time you got back on board LEM?
I haven't seen the post-flight analysis of the numbers. We had roughly half of our available oxygen supply remaining in the backpacks, and somewhat less percentage in the water supplies, which is used for cooling. Of course, particularly on our first experience with the use of that backpack on the lunar surface, we were interested in conserving a good bit of margin in case we had difficulty with closing the hatch or repressurizing the LEM, or had any difficulties with getting the systems operating again in the normal fashion inside the cockpit.
Colonel Aldrin and Mr. Armstrong, when President Nixon made his phone call to you on the moon, it looked like the two of you suddenly stopped doing everything and stood there and listened and talked to him. It looked there for a moment like you might have been a little bit aware of what was going on. You weren't busy. Was there ever a moment on the moon when either one of you were just a little bit spellbound by what was going on?
About 2.5 hours.
I'd like to ask Neil Armstrong when he began to think of what he would say when he put his foot down on the lunar surface. and how long he pondered the statement about a small step for man, gigantic leap for mankind.
Yes, I did think about it. It was not extemporaneous, neither was it planned. It evolved during the conduct of the flight, and I decided what the words would be while we were on the lunar surface just prior to leaving the land.
I'd like to ask Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and I'm not quite sure how to ask this question, but when you first stepped on the moon, did it strike you as you were stepping on a piece of the Earth, or sort of what your inner feelings were, whether you felt you were standing in a desert, or this was really another world, or how you felt at that point?
Well, there was no question in our minds where we were. We've been orbiting around the moon for quite a while.
Hey, that's kind of a loaded question. His fool said desert, and we keep playing, but we might be on to something, saying that they might have just took off, from that footage might just be from some remote desert, right? We keep saying that, and they just threw it right in your face, bone. That's why it's good to watch this stuff, from 50 years ago. They ain't went back since 50 years. They lost the technologies, right? SpaceX might try to figure something out, right? And they just confidently just lying to your face, bone. And he threw desert out there.
The statement about a small step for man, gigantic leap for mankind.
Yes, I did think about it. It was not extemporaneous, neither was it planned. It evolved during the conduct of the flight, and I decided what the words would be while we were on the lunar surface just prior to leaving the land.
I'd like to ask Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and I'm not quite sure how to ask this question, but when you first stepped on the moon, did it strike you as you were stepping on a piece of the Earth, or sort of what your inner feelings were?
He said, did it strike you that you were stepping on a piece of the Earth? Listen to this question, man. I'm just going to get it a tiny bit back.
That you were stepping on a piece of the Earth, or sort of what your inner feelings were, whether you felt you were standing in a desert, or this was...
Standing in a desert? Why would he ask this, man? This is an interesting question for people that obviously landed on the moon.
We're on the lunar surface just prior to leaving.
I'd like to ask Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and I'm not quite sure how to ask this question, but when you first stepped on the moon, did it strike you as you were stepping on a piece of the Earth, or sort of what your inner feelings were, whether you felt you were standing in a desert, or this was really another world, or how you felt at that point?
Well, there was no question in our minds where we were. We've been orbiting around the moon for quite a while. At the same time, we have experienced 1.6G before. We've been exposed to some degree to the lighting that we saw. However, this was, in my case, an extremely foreign situation with the stark nature of the light and dark conditions. And of course, we first set foot on the moon in the dark, shadowy area.
How do you view space exploration as a relative priority compared with the pressing needs of the domestic society and the world community at large?
Well, of course, we all recognize that the world is continually to neglect any of those areas, and we certainly don't feel it's our place to neglect space exploration.
There was a lot of discussion during the flight, during the descent
operation. Now, I don't think that either the ground people or ourselves really anticipated that this would happen. It was not a serious program alarm. It just told us that for a brief instant the computer was reaching a point of being
trying to solve these particular problems, we wanted to be able to look out the window to identify the features as they came up so that we would be able to pinpoint just where in the landing ellipse the computer was taking us.
I suppose was carrying on a rapid-fire conversation with the computer at that point, but I think we really have to give the credit to the control center in this case. They were the people that really...
What your feelings are, is that perhaps the most difficult part of the mission? Or are you looking...
Yeah, I know they keep doing that weird, 2001 Space Odyssey camera change. So, I don't know what they hide, man. I think they added in a lot of stuff out. I'm a belly flop right here to the 45-minute mark as we make our dismount.
Vehicle is in before it begins power descent.
Man, we got some hijack in 3 seconds, man.
And this requires extreme care.
Let's get through this hijack together, man. I mean, knowing what you know now and seeing what they have, put billions or trillions into perpetuating a big-ass lie. And it is a big-ass lie because it is a big-ass world beyond the pole.
The error ellipse where we might possibly land having targeted for the center. Now, the ability to be able to control where you are requires that you be able to identify features. And, of course, in our particular of significant features as possible to give us as smooth a terrain. Now, in any area like this, there are always certain identifying features that you can come out, certain patterns or craters. And to the extent that this can be used, if the crew sees that they are not going exactly toward the pre-planned point, they can begin to...
and more on the landing, did at any time you consider an abort while you were getting the alarms and so forth?
Well, I safely do so. And as soon as program alarms, computer alarms manifest themselves, why you realize that you have a possible abort situation to contend with, but our procedure throughout
the vehicle down in the same way that it was programmed to do.
Yeah, they're over here trying to mine, trying to mind blast us, man. I'm gonna skip way ahead. I mean, they did a lot of editing, to make sure that you lose your focus, you know what I'm saying? I mean, why do all that? Have you ever seen all that done before? We can't get no answers without the mind blasting camera, frequency edits, man. You know what I'm saying? Get a couple more minutes. Hopefully this spot is a little, more pure water so we can see what they talking about. We still got the fire burning.
I just see it as a beginning. Not just this flight, but in this program, which has really been a very short piece of human history. An instant in history, the entire program. It's a beginning of a new age.
Neil, how much descent fuel did you have left when you actually shut down?
My own instruments would have indicated less than 30 seconds, probably something like 15 or 20 seconds. I think the analysis made here on the ground indicates something more than that, probably greater than 30 seconds, 40 or 45.
That was docking. Could you tell us precisely what was going on at that time? Where you docked and then...
Are you referring to the lunar orbit docking when...
Mr. Armstrong, during the last few minutes there,
Hijack City.
before the landing when the program alarm...
Have y'all ever seen this? Ever? Have you ever seen them ask questions and cut this and cut the questions that you don't even know that with the answers that you don't know the questions to? They really wanted to cover this up, man. I'm glad we revisited this. We might have to get another unedited spot, man, because I'm sure there was a lot they was cutting out. Some of them questions, they seem real shaky on, especially this Neil character.
Long tunnel between the two vehicles. On entering the lunar module, one had to do a slight flip maneuver or a half gainer to get into position. For the lunar module, of course, is in a sense upside down relative to the command module.
This is in lunar orbit, showing the separation of the lunar module from the command module as viewed through my window. This was a busy time for me in that I was taking these motion pictures through the right-hand window. At the same time, I was taking still photos through the left-hand window and also flying my vehicle and probably poorly and taking a close look at the limb as he turned around. My most important job here was to make sure that all his landing gear were down and properly locked prior to his descent and touchdown. This is his yaw maneuver, and the white dots you see are the landing gear pads. This gives you a better idea of the detail available with the 70 millimeter. Of course, this is a still, and shows the limb either right side up or upside down. I'm not sure which. It looks more like, to me, it looked more like a praying mantis than it does a first-class flying machine in this view, but it was a beautiful piece of machinery. The landing gear are at the top, and you can see the probes which indicate lunar contact as thin wires extending upward from the landing gear.
Of course, before we could undock, as is shown in this picture, we had to complete the activation. Now, the day before we undocked, we entered the LEM and went through an entire switch configuration check, and we exercised the various communication modes. In retrospect, since we did have a little bit of communication problems on the following day during powered descent, we would recommend that we might make a more thorough check of this on the day before descent. On the day that we did finally enter the LEM for the landing maneuver, we went through a staggered sequence of suiting, and we found that with all the simulations that we had run back here in Houston, or with Houston tied with our simulations in the Cape, that we were quite confident that we would be able to complete this LEM activation in the given time period, which was approximately 4 hours. We managed to get 30 minutes ahead of the time, and it allowed us to get a more accurate platform alignment check at one point. After the undocking maneuver, we went through a brief radar check, and then the command module executed a 2 foot per second maneuver away from us so that we would both be able to independently exercise our guidance system through a star alignment check, which we did following this separation maneuver. Now, this occurred in a vicinity close to the landing site, and you can see at this point the command module is traveling right over the center of our targeted point. Is approaching now what we call the cat's paw. Following this separation maneuver on the backside of the moon, we made a descent orbit insertion, which is a slightly over 70 foot per second maneuver that lowers our altitude down to 50,000 feet. We had 2 guidance systems working for us. They behaved perfectly. Both of them agreed extremely closely as to the results of this maneuver. Following this, we used the radar to confirm the actual departure rate from the command module.
This is a view of the descent trajectory area as viewed through the LEM window during our activation. In the bottom right of the photograph is the crater Maskell.
I mean, my noggin just looks like they're just reading a script. Oh, here's my turn. When this slide comes on, I'll read this. I'll say this. Do you think these 3 jabronis landed on the moon? Oh, man. Oh, they got the whole moonwalk thing going on. Oh man, this is gonna be too funny. It's gonna belly flop all the way into this joint. Hey, fair use in your caboose, ball, man. This,
Roger out.
you gotta check this out. It's the moon, y'all. It's the moon. There's the flag.
Houston, it's very interesting to note that when I kicked my foot, this deal with no atmosphere here and it's gravity.
This is the footage they gave to us to prove they took off past the Van Halen belt and landed on the plasma moon. This is what we got, Monagas. This is what we got to go off of, and they ain't been back in over half a century.
They seem to leave, and most of them have about the same angle of departure and velocity. As I stand, the large portion of them will impact at a certain distance out. There are several percentage, of course, that will impact different regions out, but it's highly dependent upon initial trajectory upwards. Where most of the majority of the particles come down, like the terrain.
What is this, an MTV video, man? The moon, man. Come on, man.
Roger, Buzz, and break, Columbia. This is Houston. When you track out of high gain antenna limits, request Omni Delta. Omni Delta, over.
He's on the moon, y'all. He's walking on the moon. Look at this guy.
Oh, man.
Look at this guy.
I've noticed several times in going from the sunlight into the shadow that just as I go in, I catch an additional reflection off the lens. Along with the reflection off my face onto the visor, makes visibility very poor just at the transition sunlight into the shadow. I essentially have so much glare coming onto my visor, I'm on shadow, till helmet actually gets shadow, and then it takes a short while for my eyes to adapt to lighting conditions. Inside the
Managa, do you believe this? Are they moonwalking? I'm just gonna let you think about it, man. You know. While we keep the fire burning. I'll let you think about it. What'd you say, Dr. Foster, man?
And that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you are proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profound and decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. The soft landing attempts will all fail. That means that the mass of the moon is less, far less than is currently assumed. It's in a different state of energy, and it has far less mass. That means there is no more explanation for the tides. If the moon, for example, had only 1,000th part of its current mass, then the tides would only be 2 inches high under conventional theories instead of sometimes 14 feet. And that means that if it is proved that the moon is a plasma, then all gravitational theories are out. And
and a new concept of the laws has to be evolved. All gravitational theories are out. The theory of gravity is out.
Be 2 inches high
under conventional theories instead of sometimes 14 feet.
No gravity, no ball.
If it is proved that the moon is a plasma, then all gravitational theories are out, and the new concept of the cosmos.
No more ball, no more theory of gravity. You base your entire model off a theory that's not a law in science. And give it to us like it's a fact. When scientists like this, that were silenced with decades of recon, letting you know that it's not facts what you kicking. Y'all would never land on the moon. All gravitational theories are out. Just keeping the fire burning. I appreciate all you my niggas tuning in while we tune up. Ahab Dizzle Fitty, you sparked this off, bro. You know, Cloud Bay, you sparked this off too, man. Taking on this, moon launch, man. Hey, all my Nagas supporting Nagaville, you sparked this off. Ahab to the Ether Squad, keeping the fire burning every day at 432thedrop.com. Download the app for free. Look out for the new website and just a whole new connection, my Naga. You know, we have nowhere else to go but all the way up to pop off with you, man. Hey, shalom to the tribe. Keep the water flowing. And whatever you do, I said whatever you do, keep the fire burning.